Whoo!
There was no sound.
Woo!
You can get all the chills you want. There was no sound.
You don't need to see sound. It doesn't even matter if there was sound or not. Did you see the video?
Sure.
Did you see the flashbacks of greatness?
Sure.
That's just the tease of what's already started this week and what's to come throughout the rest of it. Because what it is, it's Brady week here in New England.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's week 4.
It's
week
Brady
4 of
week.
the NFL season. Brady's getting his jersey retired?
It's Brady week, Marv.
Is Brady getting his jersey retired?
He's not.
Then it's not Brady week. Stop it.
This is one of multiple Brady weeks that we're gonna experience in New England. So be ready.
I don't know what you're talking about, guy. It is not Brady week. It's not Brady
Introduce the show, bro.
But I'll tell you what it is. This is Double M Live. Got Mr. Mike Nice, DJ Means. We're glad to see all of you guys here back on another Tuesday night. Thanks for sticking it out late with us tonight. We got a great show. We got a great show. You know, you got the Brady fanatics that are still alive and happy. You got Celtics Media. Now that's what I want to talk about. That's what I'm up and happy about. Celtics Media Day. Celtics training camp has now begun. There's a new life to the Celtics. Am I doing the playlist? I don't know why I'm out here doing the playlist. But it's Double M. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm gonna let Mike carry on with the playlist.
Yeah, like Marv said, a lot to talk about here. It's episode 92 of Double M. We on the road to 100 episodes. But yeah, we got a great show in store. Obviously, we got to talk about Tom Brady, who is making his return to New England, his return to Foxboro, the house that he built. You know, you got people like Marv who don't really care. It's just another week. Patriots are on to Tampa Bay. They got to get ready for the next game and go from there. And then you got people like me who I'm all for it. I want to see the nostalgic videos and the flashbacks and this and that. Hell, before we did Double M, I went on YouTube and looked up Tom Brady's top 10 plays in a Patriot uniform just because I wanted to see some more. Hey, man, I'm all for it. I'm all for Brady's return to New England, so we're going to dive into that for sure. We're also going to just talk about the Patriots themselves and what the team has looked like through the first 3 weeks of the season. I got a wild phone call from my dad who he's not too happy at all from what he's seeing from this Patriots team, but we're going to talk about a lot of that for sure. Also, when you hear your team is getting ready for Media Day, you know that the NBA season is right around the corner. I know the Celtics had their Media Day on Monday. Some of the teams had their Media Day on Monday as well. Some teams had their Media Day Tuesday as we're here recording on a Tuesday. But it's Media Day. It's Media Week for NBA teams, which means the NBA season, the 2021-2022 season is right around the corner. A lot of different storylines, a lot of teams with new looks, you know, a lot of things to talk about with the season. And this is one of many conversations we're going to have about the Celtics and the NBA season, but we're going to get things started off here on this show right here, episode 92. Also, we had some comments come from former NFL wide receiver Des Bryant, who has some interesting things to say about Colin Kaepernick. And I know Marv wanted to speak on that as well. I have some thoughts I want to share on it as well, but we're going to dive into that later on the show, so stay tuned. But yeah, that's what's on the playlist. Again, this is episode 92 of Double M Live. If you're here tuned in with us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, tell a friend. We are live right now. Join the conversation. I know that comment box is popping right now, or will be sooner rather than later. So join the conversation with us. It's Double M. We ready to go.
Yeah, man. Double M Live. Shout out to everyone who's tuned in right now. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and that share button while you are at it right now. Let's get right into it, Mike. Week 4, the most anticipated matchup I can ever remember, really, in the NFL regular season. This is big. You got Tom Brady, who, like you said, built a home in Foxboro, leaves, wins a championship with the Buccaneers, has created a juggernaut with that team, and he's coming back home. You know, you have the beef, quote unquote, beef of Belichick versus Brady. You got Gronk also with Brady as well, who's making his return. That's a storyline that's not really getting talked about as well. Gronk makes his return to Foxborough, but highly anticipated. Media has been all over, even beginning of last week, while the Patriots were getting ready to face the Saints. You had media's members already out in Tampa Bay interviewing Brady's father and Brady's trainers and starting a buzz. And this is what it's going to be like all week. Brady's on podcasts explaining himself and the love for the Patriots. For me, you know, I I don't care. I'm not a huge fan of the theatrics and hearing he said, she said, and all of that. Just it doesn't. I don't really care. I'm excited for the game. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited for the game. Can't wait to see Brady back at Foxborough at Gillette playing against the Patriots. I would love for the Patriots to create the one of the biggest upsets ever. That would be an amazing thing to see. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but I still like to see it. I think it's great. It's great. I'm a football fan, and this is a great football story. It's everything else that comes with it. You can miss me with all of it. I don't give a damn about any of it. Just get me to Sunday where I can watch the game. Everything else doesn't mean crap to me.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, this is a big game. Big game. I've said it on another podcast. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. I'm sorry. This game against the Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will easily be top 5, top 10 most watched games in NFL history. It's that big. It's that big of a game. I think it's
Regular
bigger.
season.
Regular season game for sure. Yes, regular season game. Um, of course, you have a bunch of Patriots fans who are gonna tune in. Of course, you have Buccaneers fans who are gonna tune in because they want to see how their team plays. But I think just football fans around the world who know how big of a matchup this is, how big of the return of Tom Brady to Foxborough facing his former team, it's going to be huge. And I mean, we've seen this happen in other sports. We've seen Michael Jordan on the Bulls. From he used to play for the Bulls, went to the Washington Wizards and made his return to Chicago. We've seen, I'm trying to think of Michael Jordan is the biggest player I can think of right now, but there's been other players who've had great years on a team who've left to go somewhere else and make big returns. This might be the biggest one of them all.
I remember when Favre returned to Lambeau. I remember that
That's
being
another one.
that
Favre
was
to
being big.
Lambeau. I'm trying to think of there any. Trying to think of anybody from baseball. There's definitely players from baseball that I just can't think of. But it's huge. This Brady returning to Foxborough to face the Patriots might be the biggest one of them all. Bigger than this is bigger than Jordan going back to Chicago, I think.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
bigger much bigger than Jordan going back to Chicago, much bigger than Brett Favre going back to Green Bay. This is huge. And I see the comments coming in, Sam saying Patriots are gonna get their ass beat. Dirk is saying Brady's gonna get his ass beat. That's the big question of all. I mean, we could dive into how the Patriots look and how Tampa Bay looks for sure, but when it comes down to the game, are we expecting to see? Because we're not going to. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the better football team. Are the Patriots, who are 1-2 right now, looking to get their ass beat by the defending champion?
Ask the question again.
Are the Patriots, who are sitting at 1-2 right now, looking kind of up and down to start the regular season, are they going to get their ass beat by the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady? Do
I
they
think
get blown out?
I think the Patriots make this game competitive. Definitely to start off, I think this is going to be a competitive. I have the Buccaneers winning due to the fact that they're the better team and the fact that what I've seen in the first 3 weeks, the Patriots haven't shown me anything these first 3 weeks to show me that they can put up enough points to beat the Buccaneers. I said it at the round table. I think in order to beat this Buccaneers team, you need to score 30 points. You need to score at least 30 points. And this Patriots team has not shown me that they are able to do that. So I think they can make it competitive. You got Bill Belichick on the side of the Patriots. You got Bill Belichick, and he knows Tom Brady. Who knows? This is another storyline, right? Who knows Tom Brady more than Bill Belichick? And then the other side of it is, who knows Bill Belichick's defense more than Tom Brady, who's faced it every single day in practice? It's going to be a chess match, which is awesome to see. But at the end of the day, chess is not going to really be important when the other team is far more superior than your team at the moment.
And that's the one glimmer of hope I believe the Patriots have, because I don't think the Patriots stand a chance in this game. But the one glimmer of hope I have in the Patriots is the fact that nobody knows Brady better than Belichick, McDaniels. Hell, they even brought freaking Matt Patricia back. I don't even know what kind of role he has with the team, but nobody knows Brady better than those guys over there in New England. So if there was a team or a coaching staff that you could say, hey, they should be able to figure out Tom Brady and figure out how to slow him down, it would be the New England Patriots. You would think they can, quite frankly, put together the best game plan because they know Brady's strengths, they know his weaknesses, and then, they just need the players to go out there and execute the game plan. So you think that they can slow him down. But I don't know, man. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're the best offense in the NFL. I know they lost Antonio Brown due to, safety protocols and whatnot with COVID. But I'm assuming he's going to be back for Sunday because I believe he is vaccinated, so he doesn't need to be out for however long or whatnot, as long as he shows negative test. Gronk, who got, injury scare in their previous game against the Rams, he kind of bounced back and made a return to the game, and he's looking like he's going to be ready. But, Gronk, just like Brady, they're excited to come back to Foxboro. It's just tough for me to see, especially knowing what we've seen from the New England Patriots these first 3 weeks. It's tough for me to see them slowing down Tampa Bay. And I'm looking in the comments right now. Dirk is ready to put up $300 on this game.
Jesus, Dirk, save your money, brother.
$300 on this game.
Money.
Dirk believes that the Patriots will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's willing to put $300 on the line.
Save your money, boss. You gotta be really rich to make bets like that.
I'm not into betting, and I'm not into gambling too much. Dirk, don't do that. Dirk. Don't do that. That's not the move. I
really don't want to see a Brady to Gronk touchdown at Gillette.
Marv.
That would make me throw up. A Brady to Gronk touchdown at Gillette Stadium. Oh my God.
You have to accept what's coming. You have to accept what's coming.
No, that could be prevented.
You don't think you don't think that they're gonna do Tampa Bay, Brady, Gronk, Arians, whoever the offensive coordinator is, Byron Leftwich, they're gonna do whatever they can to make that happen. They're gonna do whatever necessary.
I'm not trying to say that. I'm all set. All set on. That would drive me nuts. Really, it would drive me nuts.
Why?
What do you mean? Why?
It's just football. If the touchdown happens, the touchdown happens.
I said Brady to Gronk.
What's wrong with that?
Your two former team players that play for your team are scoring a touchdown against you. You ask me what's wrong with that? Are you just trying to be devil's advocate, or you? I don't get it. Don't piss me off, Mike. Don't piss me off right now.
You see, with me, I don't know. Just me personally, like I get it. I would love the Patriots to win, but like I feel no type of hatred or animosity or anything of the sorts with Brady and Gronk coming back to play the Patriots in another.
It's not about hatred. They're the opponent.
Maybe I feel some type of way about Gronk. I will say that. Gronk, I feel a little type of way towards, because this whole situation was weird.
Yeah, he screwed the Patriots.
Yeah, he screwed the Patriots, one retired, and Brady's gone, and go to him. Well, let me go to Gronk, I feel some type of way about. Brady, I honestly hope Brady comes and has a hell of a game. Would it be a hell of a game in a loss? I'd be happy. But I hope Brady has a hell of a game. And I don't just say that because, I have him as my fantasy quarterback. Like, even if I wasn't doing fantasy, I'd hope Brady had a regular Tom Brady game. And yeah, a Brady to Gronk touchdown, I'll laugh and I'll smile. I really will if that happens. I'll laugh and I'll smile like, wow, they really doing this in another uniform. This is crazy. That's how I'd feel.
No, it's not about doing it in another uniform. They've been doing it in another uniform. They're doing it in another uniform at your home. At your home. That's a slap in the face.
I'm already accepted to and preparing myself to. I really am.
You're accepting what?
I'm accepting seeing Brady to Gronk, and excuse me, and Gronk is going to spike the ball. Gronk is going to spike the ball.
Prevent that. Just prevent a Brady to Gronk touchdown.
And Gronk is going to spike the hell out of that football if he catches a touchdown.
I'm not trying to see that. Look at you, so happy. You're so happy about this.
Will the fans will the fans boo or cheer? That's the real question.
If Brady to Gronk scores, if you cheering, I'm questioning you. If you're at Gillette Stadium, you're cheering for a Brady to Gronk touchdown while your team is getting smacked. I'm questioning you.
You just see Brady and Gronk, two guys who are going to go into the Patriots Hall of Fame one day. You just no.
It's unacceptable. You wouldn't have clapped for anybody else. They are the opponents. They can get their celebrations later. It's not time to celebrate them.
Maybe I don't care as much, or I'm laughing and smiling because, like, I've already told myself I don't expect this game to be too competitive. I've already accepted Patriots losing and getting their ass beat. So maybe that's why I'm over here like, man, Brady throw 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, whatever. I don't care. In my mind, let's just hurry up and get through this week in a sense. And let's hope the Patriots can get things back on track come week 5, because this team has some serious issues. This team has problems.
Like, if you really think about it, Patriots got to do whatever they can to win this game. Going down 1-3 is looking real gloom for you.
0-3 at home to start the year at that.
0-3 at home. So now we're talking about a lot of road games coming up. Yeah, you have to do whatever you can to try to win this game. 1-3, and you're looking at another year. It's a lost season. And all of these weapons.
It's a building year, though, in a sense. Like, not a rebuilding year.
It's not a building year, Mike. It's
not a rebuilding year, but like,
you can't say that. You can't spend the amount of money that the Patriots spent and say it's any type of nope. You brought this team. You paid this team to be a playoff team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, but are we expecting?
You can't.
Are we expecting or putting too much pressure on a 22-year-old quarterback to carry this team to be a playoff?
They had a veteran quarterback.
They did, and they didn't go.
They had a veteran quarterback. They didn't go with it. So You put the pressure on you thought that this 22-year-old quarterback was going to lead you to the playoffs. You didn't pay all this money to say, "Oh, okay, we got a young quarterback. He's good." No, you trust what this quarterback did all throughout training camp, and you said, "All right, he's our best fit to lead us this year." So there's no type of excuse. I don't want to hear no type of building this. No, didn't build. You didn't. That wasn't what the mission was going into this offseason. So we can't
So
change expectations now.
so it's early. It's only going into the week four. But if Patriots were to miss the playoffs somehow this year, it's another lost season. It's another failed season, right?
It's a F. It's a big F. Pitchers don't make it to the playoffs. It's a fail.
Not even you wouldn't even sit there and be like, well, Mac Jones, his first year, he had his ups and downs. Nothing. If they don't make it, it's a lost, failed season.
It's a lost, failed season, 100%.
So we know that they got all these weapons offensively. You know that they tried to, bolster up the defense a little bit here and there. And I don't want to jump the gun and talk like the season's over because there's a lot of football left to play.
A lot of
football. But I'm speaking hypothetically. If the season was lost, they didn't make the playoffs. Where do you go from there? Like, what do you try to do to make improvements? Because we believe that this team should be a playoff team. We did our predictions through our roundtable show. We said they should have a winning record to make it to the playoffs. Where do you go from here with this team? What needs to be fixed? What needs to be addressed?
It's impossible to ask right now.
Exactly.
Until you get through the season. What I can say is both lines are really bad for the Patriots. Offensive line has not produced what it's supposed to be doing, and the defensive line for the Patriots as well. I mean, you look at this Patriots team, we're thinking this front seven was going to be something spectacular. Hasn't been the case. The offensive line.
I don't know what happened, but I can't hear you anymore, Marv. Can't hear you. I don't know what happened. You can hear me. Okay, well, I don't know on my end. I can't hear you anymore.
Y'all lost me. Y'all lost me. Y'all can't hear
now
me?
you're back. Now you're back.
What did I leave off at?
You were talking about how the lines have been terrible.
Yeah, offensive line has, since you lost Trent Brown, the right side has been bad, but Isaiah Wynn on that left side hasn't been spectacular either. And I was speaking about the defensive line, how the front seven was supposed to be your strongest, one of your strongest suits there. You bring in Matt Judon, he looks great in the offseason. Uche looks good. They haven't been able to stop the run. So going into this year, I think the line is going to get better throughout, but right now, to start this year, they both have not been great.
Yeah. I see Dirk in the comments talking about he doesn't think the defensive line has played bad. I don't know, Dirk. It seems
defensive line has not been good.
It seems as if, again, they can't stop the run. And I know Alvin Kamara is one of the elite running backs in the team, but he damn near had his way in that last game against the Saints. And on top of struggling against the run, I still don't feel as if, they have been putting enough pressure on quarterbacks so far to start the season. That's been my issue with the Patriots last several seasons, and for the most part, we thought this coming year they do a little better. They made some moves, got some players in, but still seems as if Patriots are not consistent with their pressure. I know Jameis Winston didn't have an amazing game when the Patriots played the Saints, but still, a lot of times he was able to sit back in that pocket and have time to make things happen. I think the pressure is an area where the Patriots are lacking still. And let's be honest, again, going up against an elite team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the defense we've seen, the defensive line, the pressure we've seen, if that's what they bring to the table against the Buccaneers, you can expect 30 to 40 plus points being put up on the board. It's just that plain and simple.
With Brady's gonna have time to throw. The Bucks don't have a great running game. I'm not expecting Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones to go crazy. Now you without Stephon Gilmore, you're really putting a lot of pressure on Jalen Mills. You're putting a lot of pressure on Jonathan Jones to cover probably a Chris Godwin in a case where most times Jonathan Jones is not playing. He's not covering a guy like Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is going to be out there. Who did they put on Rob Gronkowski? Maybe it's Duggar. It's just the Buccaneers create such a matchup problem, and with the fact that Brady understands that this Patriots defense is going to make things very difficult to slow him down, because he's gonna know what kind of coverages that the Patriots play on. Obviously, Belichick might have some different schemes and something up his sleeve to combat that, knowing that Brady has how much can you create when Brady's seen it all? Talk about a guy who's been in the league for 20 something years, know what kind of looks you have against quarterbacks who are not mobile, considered like him. Brady's going to be able to move around a little bit, understanding that, look, the secondary doesn't have all of their dogs right now with Stephon Gilmore there. I really would have felt a little more comfortable having Stephon Gilmore shadow or cover one of those guys, AB maybe, or Mike Evans, but it's going to be tough, man. AB is going to be an X factor in this game. I think he can go off.
Yeah, like it's scary. It's scary. You know, Jalen Mills, Jonathan Jones. I know Jonathan Jones has continued to play well, but it's scary to think that these receivers might have their way when it comes to facing the Patriots in their defense. It's just, I'm worried. Well, I'm not. Let me take that back. I'm not worried. I'm accepting what could possibly happen, and we could see big yards put up, big plays put up. You know, I know the Jets struggled because the Jets just suck. But if you look at the game with Miami and you look at the game against the Saints, you know, they were able to move the ball down the field, and it's looked a little bit more so of this bend not break type of defense. Bend not break, pick up yards, but let's just hope they don't get into the end zone. They can pick up yards, but let's just hope they don't get into the end zone and get into the red zone and make a play happen down there. That's what it's looking more. That's what it's looking like with this Patriots defense right now. And, you know, I guess we have seen years where this somewhat has worked for the Patriots. And especially in those years, you're looking at offense on the other side of the ball that's been able to put up points. This Patriots team right now, despite spending big money on tight ends, bringing in 2 wide receivers, having a somewhat solid running game, they're struggling to put up big numbers on the board. And in a team like Tampa Bay, who averages damn near 30 points a game, are the Patriots ready to be in a shootout with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I don't think so.
That's my issue right there. Offensively, I'm gonna say, man, the Patriots really need to be able to put up 30 points against this team, due to the fact that when you look at the Buccaneers drives, when they score touchdowns, it is quick. Their drives don't last long. 2-minute drive, 3-minute drive, 2-minute drive, 3-minute drive, and they're going down the field and scoring. Patriots have not shown us so far in 3 weeks that they can match that firepower offensively. So what are you going to do defensively to slow down the Buccaneers with all of those weapons there? That's when it becomes an issue with me. And that's why I think that Buccaneers are just way too overpowered for this team.
That's what it boils down to. They're the Patriots are outmatched. They're gonna get overpowered by what the Buccaneers bring to the table. It's just a football game that we're gonna watch this coming Sunday, and you know, people have their predictions and whatnot. I see Dirk over here saying he believes it's Patriots 24-21. Brady throws a pick on the final drive off field goal position. Dirk is confident. Dirk might be the most confident person I know of when it comes to this game. Because Dirk, you're the only person that I've really heard believing that the Patriots are going to win this game. And I like your confidence. You know,
I
you're
respect it.
riding. I respect it. He's riding with his team through and through. I get it. And I respect it. You know, I think I'm just being, or Marv just being, there's a lot of people just being realists in terms of what they've seen from this two football teams. Maybe if this was the first game of the season, I'd feel a little different. But from what we've seen in 3 weeks from the Buccaneers and from the Patriots, even though the Buccaneers lost last week to the Los Angeles Rams, from what we've seen in these first 3 weeks of the season, I don't have confidence in the Patriots beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to leave it at that.
And man, so much more we got to talk about here on Double M Live. Make sure you give us this like, share, subscribe if you are new. Comment section is booming right now. Shout out to Derek. Very confident Patriots fan. And I hope he's right. And if he's right, he'll be able to talk all his shit all over the place because he will be probably one of the few to say that I had the Patriots winning. And
Lost you again, Marv. I don't know what happened.
I don't know why they're trying to kick me out. I don't know why they're trying to kick me out. You hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but you're back. But yeah, man, Dirk, I feel you, bro. If the Patriots pull this out, yo, scream it from the mountaintops because I'll support you. You've been saying it for weeks now, weeks and weeks. So if the Patriots win, and you shouting it out loud, I'm gonna say, yeah, that guy did say it. It was that guy who felt that the Patriots would win, and we'll see if they could pull it out. But let's move on here. Let's switch topics. Because we're now at the football season. NFL season is still marching along.
Facts.
Right, right around the corner. The NBA season is getting ready to start. Media day, teams media day has been taking place throughout the beginning of this week. The Celtics had their media day on Monday. Yeah, another season's on the horizon. Couple different storylines. We can talk about storylines with the Celtics. Obviously, it's a new era, dawn of a new era in the Celtics organization. The Lakers are probably the most talked about team in the NBA just because of the team they've assembled over the offseason. I know the Warriors are another team people have their eye on because finally, fingers crossed, they're getting their big three back of Draymond, Steph Curry, and a healthy Klay Thompson. Will they be able to put together the magic that they had a couple of years ago with those three guys being all back on the court together? That remains to be seen. Any other storylines, Mark, you could think of heading into this season?
NBA wise?
NBA wise, yeah.
Did you mention the Nets?
The Nets,
KD, Kyrie, James Harden, maybe Kyrie. Kyrie's a question mark.
They have a full off season together now. I believe they're all healthy. We'll see what they'll be able to do to start off the season together.
You got the Simmons storyline with the 76ers, which
that
is
freaking guy driving me crazy.
Which is always developing. You have no one's talking about it, but they're the defending champs, man. The Milwaukee Bucks.
They're not getting talked about a lot.
They're not getting, and that's probably how they
did it to you again, Marv. I don't know what's going on.
I don't get why they it's legit mute, and I can't do nothing about it. But yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks are defending champs and not getting talked about a lot. Probably how they like it. We'll see what Giannis can he take another step into his evolution as one of the NBA's greats.
He had some interesting comments, and we can just jump right into this as we go on from here because we're going to talk about NBA, Celtics, Media Day, all of that. But Giannis has some interesting comments. Maybe it's just interesting to me. They won a championship, Milwaukee Bucks defending champion. He's having his Media Day interview, and I don't know what question was asked, but he says something along the lines of like, I don't care about championships. I don't care about individual awards and whatnot. I just want to get better and better, which I get. You're a player. Giannis is still somewhat young. He's only what, mid-20s, mid to late 20s now. And you finally got your championship. Huge. I get it. And again, like I said, I don't remember what exactly the question was, but for him to say, I don't care about championships. I just want to get better. I didn't necessarily get that. Because
I need to hear the question that was
I
asked.
would love to hear the question, but even the fact that he said, I don't care about championships, for some reason, I didn't understand that, because you got one. I'm assuming you'd be hungry for more. You got the taste of one. Why not see if you can make another one happen?
The thing with Giannis, you can never question his hunger.
That's true.
Like, he's shown it, right? He's shown that he wants it bad, and he's going to strive for it. What it sounds like is he's not trying to put that pressure on himself of, oh, you must win.
I don't know what's happening here with Marv, but Ustream is not being kind to this guy's microphone at all.
What I'm trying to say is he's not trying to put pressure on himself to be the greatest by just winning championship. He understands that there's more levels where he wants to be, and he's not trying to be compared to, oh, Giannis wasn't great because he didn't get 3 championships compared to a LeBron or Kawhi Leonard and stuff like that. Maybe that's the angle he's going at. I don't know the quote. I'm just going off of what you just said. But I will never question. One thing I'll never do is question Giannis's hunger to be best, to be great.
Yeah, I believe Giannis, desires to continue to achieve greatness and be the greatest player possible. And we see what that dedication and hard work has gotten him. It got him to the championship last year, winning championship finals MVP. He's a multiple time NBA regular season MVP. We work he puts in, and I believe as long as he continues that hard work and he has a good team around him, he'll be in a position to win more championship for sure. Let's talk about the Lakers. I see Sam, in the chat, our executive producer, big Lakers fan. They took a picture at media day.
Bro, that picture is wild.
And the picture's crazy. They
wild picture.
Lined up, taking pictures in Lakers uniforms. Dwight Howard, Melo Anthony, Rajon Rondo, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. That's 6 guys I think I just named. And at one point in time, all of those guys, except maybe Rondo, could have possibly been considered the best player in NBA. Possibly. Or at least definitely
the best in their position.
5.
Or the best in their position.
Like, Dwight Howard had a couple years with Orlando where it was like, this guy's probably the most dominant player in the NBA. Carmelo Anthony had a couple of seasons where you're like, okay, this guy's probably the best scorer in the NBA. Same thing can be said about, LeBron, most dominant. Anthony Davis at a time, most dominant, still dominant. Rondo, the best freaking point guard in the NBA. Like, that's crazy. And they're all
No. You're not gonna name 5 players and leave out Westbrook. I want to hear it.
Oh, Westbrook at some point in time could have been called one of the better players in the NBA.
You're not slick. How did you go from calling Rondo the best point guard and just skip Westbrook?
I missed 2 players, Westbrook and who else?
Nah, you just missed Westbrook.
Oh, Westbrook is, yeah. Either way, they got 7. I named 6 players, all on the same roster, all in Lakers uniforms, and they're gonna play the regular season together. And 5 of those guys are in the starting lineup. Because from what I read, their starting lineup is Westbrook, LeBron, AD, Wayne Ellington. Now missing somebody. Why am I missing somebody?
All I
I
know
don't
is
think I
in
don't think they
order
started Carmelo or Rondo
in
or
order
Dwight Howard.
in order for that to work, that team to work, LeBron has to play the 4 and Anthony Davis has to play the 5. You
I
can't
think
have
that's how they're starting the season.
because you know so it only makes sense. You can't have Westbrook on your team and LeBron playing the 3 and Davis playing the 4 and having a 5. They'll get smacked. There's no spacing. They have to have LeBron play the 4 and Anthony Davis play the 5, and now you can interchange who you have in at the 2 and 3, having some shooters around them. Otherwise, Lakers aren't going nowhere. But if Anthony Davis can understand that, dude, you got to play center. Forget this dream of you being a power forward. You're a center. LeBron, he's already transitioned to the 4 spot anyways, naturally. I think the team's going to be all right. Obviously, those 6 Hall of Fame type players that you mentioned, not all of them are in the prime anymore. But when you see them together, you're just like, damn. 6-7 years ago, you could have never in the world have told me this would be possible. Never. Rondo and Westbrook on the same team, same backcourt. You got Dwight Howard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. What kind of team? Carmelo Anthony and LeBron are on the same team, guys. Like, that's stupid. But it's happened.
It's Westbrook and Rondo to me that's on the same team that still got me like, this is crazy. Westbrook and Rondo
who've battled, who've had battles against each other. It's a wild team. I think it's gonna take them some time, but I think it can work. I think the Lakers can work as long as, like I said, they control that spacing issue. So yeah, that Lakers picture, crazy. Did I
muted you again.
I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. But I'm gonna just continue to unmute myself while I talk, I guess. What are your expectations of Luca this year?
Luca should be it's crazy how I'm gonna go off 2K. But I played NBA 2K20, and I'm in a couple years in right now. And the way Luca has ascended in that video game is freaking nuts. The man averages a triple-double, and his triple-double is like 30, 12, and 12. That's what he averages on the season. Will he do that in real life? I don't think so, but Luca's entering what, year 3?
Year 3.
And he's only gonna be 21?
Nah, he's probably gotta be like 22 now. 22, 23.
No, maybe he's turning 22.
Luca can't be that young still.
Luca to me is gonna be 22 years old.
22.
He's 22 now.
God, yo, Luca's only 22 years old.
Year 3, and he's only gonna be 22 years old.
Oh my God.
So, and he's been fairly, for the most part, he's been healthy since he's been in the league. He hasn't dealt with any injuries.
Yo, he's only 22.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, I don't know if he's gonna do them 2K numbers like I've been seeing, but Luca should have no problem continuing to dominate. I know there was some issue with him and Porzingis, and Porzingis pissed because Luca, they only go through Luca. Hell yeah, they mainly go through Luca because Luca's freaking nasty. And I understand Porzingis don't want to necessarily be just a spot up big man shooter. I get that, but Porzingis, you in a situation where if you kind of just shut up and do your job, Dallas can be somewhat successful. Will they be one of the elite teams in the West? I don't know if they're on that level yet because I don't know what their depth looks like. But in terms of what Luca can do individually, I'm seeing him continue to ascend and just get better at 22 years old in his 3rd year in the league.
So and this is to you and anyone in the chat, Can you name me 5 players better than Luka Doncic right now?
His position or in general?
Just in general.
Giannis, KD. I get Kawhi. Does he count? Will you count Kawhi?
I don't think Kawhi's playing this year.
Okay. Well, currently playing Giannis, KD, Curry. Ooh, that might be it.
The fact that you got to 3 in your thinking is kind of nuts.
That might be it. I was gonna say Dame, but like, no.
If you're picking a team,
I don't know.
You're picking out a team. Are you starting with Luca or Dame? You're going to most likely going to go with Luca.
I'm starting with Luca. Yeah, only 3 players are better than Luca to me in the league right now.
You said LeBron?
I'll take Luca over LeBron right now.
You think Luca's a better player than LeBron James?
Right now, give me Luca over LeBron. Give me Luca over LeBron.
I still have LeBron over Luca.
If I was to name no order but 5 players, out of those players, LeBron's the 5th best.
I got LeBron over Luca. I have LeBron over Luca.
I'll take Luca over. Luca's focused on scoring right now.
I'm confident that I can win a championship this year with LeBron. I'm confident if you swap Luca and LeBron, LeBron's having a better record with the Mavericks than Luca is.
The thing is, Luca hasn't even necessarily reached his full potential.
No, he hasn't, which is nuts. We're pretty much saying he can be the best player in the West.
He will be eventually. Like, he's not far from, because you think about Luca right now, he's what, 6'7"?
He's a big dude, man.
And he's mainly focused on scoring right now. He can score the basketball, and he can somewhat facilitate here and there. But if he ever decides to get a little more athleticism to his game, he's a walking triple double.
When you say get more athleticism, you mean just lose more weight?
Lose a little weight. If he slims down and adds a little more quickness to his game, he's an automatic triple double. Because now you're talking about his same shooting and scoring ability. You know, he already has solid. I wouldn't say has elite court vision, but his court vision is there. But if he slims down and gets a little more athleticism to his game, now you're talking about a guy who's swooping in, grabbing some more easy rebounds at his size.
But his big body is what makes him so hard to defend as well.
That is true.
When you hear about players defending Luca, all they keep saying is he's a lot bigger than you think.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude playing point guard, and he's doing it very well.
Yeah, that's unique, man. I can't believe I really might have Luca's top 5. It would be 5 for me, but to have
Luca's
him
top 5 player in the league,
and that's really crazy to think about. That's a quick ascension.
Yeah, like he wasted no time coming into the league and making his name known. So many storylines for sure, but let's get back to the Celtics really quickly. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, it's the dawn of a new era in Boston. You know, a lot of people were skeptical at first when Danny Ainge left town, and Brad jumped into Danny Ainge's role. And what the hell does Brad know about being a general manager and putting together a team? I would say at this point in time, as the Celtics are preparing to start the season, I think the majority of people are somewhat satisfied with what has come from the Celtics' moves throughout the summer. Because, yeah, did they sign some big name free agent or make some big trade? No. But for the first time in a while, it seems as if they have a plan on what they're trying to do in terms of cap space and moves and how the contracts they're signing guys to. It seems as if they have a plan and a vision on how they want to kind of maneuver moving forward. around the fact that they want to build the best team possible around Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. I like the fact that it seems like Brad has a plan.
Yeah, I mean, Brad did the one thing he needed to do for me to be good in my book. Got rid of Kemba. I mean, that's all he. It didn't matter what Brad did after that. He was good in my book. Not only did he get rid of Kemba, he got rid of Kemba in the middle of the playoffs. Celtics just got eliminated. He just got hired, and he said the first thing he did the next day was say, "Yeah, Kemba's got to go." So he was good in my book from there. The roster looks good. I think a big question mark, something exciting to see moving forward is Eames, Coach Udaka's new system. What is he going to implement? How's this team going to look compared to Brad Stevens' system? You know, he really been talking about ball movement and focus on defense. So I really want to see how that's going to look for the Celtics. Is he a guy who wants to play small? Is he a guy that's going to do what Brad Stevens did and have a double big in the lineup? How is he going to use the rotation? So I'm excited to see how a new coaching staff, a new system, what they utilize. Who gets? We know Brad Stevens. If you're a point guard, you're going to get busy at the point guard position. Brad Stevens really, that's how his offense flows. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, my question mark is still what to expect from Marcus Smart as this team's starting point guard.
Yeah, they pretty much have to be known in media day.
Yeah, like he's the starting point guard. And I mean, yes, it's a new coaching staff, a new system, and Marcus Smart is what 7 years in the league now, or something like that. 6-7 years. They tried Marcus Smart at point guard when he first came into the league, and it was terrible. And like I said, it's been 6-7 years now. He's a much older. He's a veteran now. It's a new system, new coaching staff. So, but I'm still curious as to what Marcus Smart will look like as a point guard now, because the Marcus Smart we've been used to seeing over these last couple of years is the guy who's jacking shots, wild shot selections, and erratic play at times. What will we see this year from Marcus Smart, who now has a solidified role as, look, you're the point guard, you're the starting point guard, you're expected to be a playmaker out there. What are we going to see from this Marcus Smart? He's stepping into a new role, something that he hasn't necessarily seen since his rookie year. And I know over the last couple of seasons, he's had opportunities where he could step in and be point guard due to injury and whatnot. But this is a solidified, like, yo, from day one, we're expecting you to run the ship as the point guard. So the ball's in your hands. As soon as we tip off from game one, whoever the center is, Robert Williams, is tipping the ball to you, and you got it rocking from here. So that's my big question mark, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of other things.
Marcus Smart has experience as point guard. Like when he's coming off the bench, he's the primary playmaker on the team. Especially when you had Kemba Walker and not playing as much as he was, Marcus Smart was the guy who was the ball handler for the Boston Celtics. So it's not going to be a huge adjustment for him. Obviously, he knows now as the starting point guard, he knows who the ball needs to go to. Unfortunately, this is Marcus Smart. You're going to get him chucking shots. That's just in his DNA. We've seen it for 6 years. There's no way magically in year 7 that's going to change. Marcus Smart's a player that's going to frustrate you, but you're going to love him at the same time. It's going to be frustrating. Look, Marcus Smart shoots the ball a lot. Especially if the team's not getting going, he thinks he needs to be Superman, he's going to chuck him. There was 1 year it was okay, but other than that, it just doesn't look good, and I'm fearful of that. He's still going to get players involved. He's a decent playmaker. I think that's underrated part of his game. Everyone talks about his defense, and they talk about how bad he is at shooting, but he is a very good playmaker, especially in the pick and roll. He knows what to do. So if you give him the position now and you say, hey, this is what we want you to do, I'm 50-50 with it. He's always going to be frustrating. It's just something you got to live with as a Celtics fan. You know that his play is going to win you some game, He could shoot you out some games as well. So that's a question mark. And another question mark I have is Jalen Brown. He was been injured. He's saying that he's fully recovering from his wrist injury. How healthy is he really going into this year? And if he is healthy, can he take another step into his development? Because he's going to be huge. Coach has come out and already said that Jalen and Jason have to be better playmakers. Jalen, that's not his game at all. There was times last year you could see, like, obviously I'm nitpicking because those two did incredible for what they needed to do for the team and scoring. But Jalen's not a great playmaker. He's just that's not in his DNA. It's not something that he's great at. Can he take that next step and become a better playmaker alongside Jason Tatum? Because those two do become better playmakers off of each other, this team could get scary. It's another step. Like Kawhi took that step when he went to Toronto. Kawhi took a step in becoming a playmaker. Before, Kawhi was just one-dimensional. He could score, play defense, but he could never set people up. Once Kawhi took that next step becoming a playmaker, so, this guy all around offensively can be great. And if Jalen and Jason can do that with themselves, oh man, the Celtics can be something.
I agree with that for sure. I mean, I do believe Tatum and Brown could take another level to their game, take another step in their game. I don't know how many more years we could continue to say this, but they're still two young guys, 23 and 25 years old.
Yeah.
Something like that. And that's still young, like still fairly young in the league. And we're talking about Tatum's entering year 5, Jalen Brown's entering year 6. They've been in the league for a long time. And, we've seen their ascension, 2 all-star players now. But, I think it's one to make all-star game. We've seen a lot of guys over the years make all-star game. I'm ready to see Jalen and Jason Tatum on the all-NBA team. That's the next level. When you're talking all-NBA, that's when you know that I think what you're talking about, Marv, as well, you're seeing a next level added to the game, especially when we're talking about playmaking and doing stuff like that. Now we're talking about all NBA guys. Yeah, Tatum and Brown can make all-star team again. That's cool and all. But if you're making an all NBA, you really have done something to your game. I don't think Tatum made all NBA last year. Did he?
He got snubbed.
Okay. So he got snubbed. He probably should have made at least the third team, maybe the second team. Jalen Brown was great. I know injuries played a part. I think there was point in times where if he continued playing at the same level he definitely could have been in contention and maybe possibly a third team. But I think next year or this coming season, for them to take that next step, I want to see them in contention to be like, okay, these are all NBA type of players as well as being all-stars.
That goes to coaching as well, right? Like, yeah. Coaching needs to, like, look at DeMar DeRozan, for example. DeRozan, yeah, when he went to the West, he was no longer an all-star, but his game developed.
He gave me a couple 10-assist nights.
DeRozan, another player who became a playmaker when he went to another team. Pop developed DeRozan to a better player. Yeah, he didn't make an all-star team. He's not as athletic as he was in Toronto, but DeRozan became a better player in San Antonio than he was in Toronto.
Very true. Very true indeed. And I mean, hey, you're talking about DeRozan who did that under Pop in that coaching staff. Now you got a guy who is from that same coaching tree and knows what that system looks like. So hopefully the way DeRozan developed and became a better all-around player in San Antonio, Ime Udoka's bringing that to Boston, and we can see something similar like that with Tatum and Brown, because from the get-go, Brad Stevens, Ime Udoka have said these are the 2 pillars of the organization, and these are who we're running with and building around. But with that being said, there's so much more we could talk about with the NBA season. It's just getting started. I think the Celtics have their first preseason game this coming Monday. So it's right around the corner. Like, we're gonna get a chance to see these guys really soon in action as we get closer and closer to the start of the regular season. Another thing I wanted to talk about really quickly, coming out of these media day interviews with players, is the NBA player stances on the vaccination. Players are all over the place. I think the first big name that came out was Andrew Wiggins and him not being vaccinated and, being over there in Golden State. He has a chance where he won't be able to play home games because he's not vaccinated, and they're not allowing people who are not vaccinated into that arena. Same situation now goes with Kyrie over here in New York. He's not vaccinated, so he has a possibility of missing home games for the Nets. And, players are coming out left and right. They're getting asked by the media, states on vaccination. Are you vaccinated? How do you feel about other players not being vaccinated? How do you feel about teammates not being vaccinated? And players are saying a lot of different things. You have some players like LeBron and Tatum saying, like, look, I'm vaccinated, but if people don't want to get vaccinated or getting vaccinated, I respect the decision either way. People are doing it for various reasons. Bradley Beal had some interesting comments about the vaccination. Shout out to my dad who called me, letting me know about Beal's stance on the vaccination. Here's what Beal had to say. Similar to other players, Beal said, I don't think you can put pressure on anybody into doing things or putting pressure or putting things into their bodies. What he had to say about the vaccine, because I think Beal came out and said he's not vaccinated. He said, I would ask the question to those who are getting vaccinated, why are you still getting COVID? You can still get COVID and still pass it along if vaccinated. So that's where his question mark is. And I mean, that's probably a lot of players' sentiment and thoughts and feelings. And no, people have various reasons why they're maybe not getting the vaccination, whether it be religious or personal thoughts and feelings, whatever. But it seems as if Beal's thoughts and feelings are something that many could possibly have. Why get vaccinated if passing along COVID and whatnot still a possibility? I don't know. But it's interesting to hear the different thoughts and feelings that players have about the vaccination in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna make it for an interesting this year. Adam Silver has a lot on his plate. Another year of COVID that he has to now with the vaccine and players speaking out on it. Kyrie's gonna lead that charge as well. But one thing about like the LeBrons and Tatum's coming out and saying, "Hey, man, I got it, but if someone else doesn't got it, I'm not gonna judge." That sounds good now. Sounds great to say in media day. It really does. Come December, in the grind of the season, and your teammates can't play, you're not going to have that same sentiment. Like, I really think this is going to divide locker rooms. For example, think about it. Let's just say, for example, Anthony Davis is not vaccinated. Okay. Yeah, LeBron. They got 6 players, but we already know who it is. It's LeBron and Anthony Davis's team. Anthony Davis can't play half the games. Lakers go on a 3-game losing streak. I think LeBron's like, I'm still. Anthony Davis has his reasons. It is what it is. You're playing for a championship. What happens in the playoffs? You go into an arena that you can't play. You can't play because you're not vaccinated. You're still having that same sentiment. It's going to make things real weird in the middle of the season when players can't play in certain situations and you're hurting the team.
And go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
And not only is that going to hurt teams, but now you're talking about the NBA getting hurt because now they're missing some possibly big players in big games, big money games where they can make a lot of money. Now you're in these games or possibly playoff games and matches where an Anthony Davis, for example, or maybe Kyrie or something, they are missing these games. It's not going to only hurt well, the teams aren't going to be upset, and the teammates aren't only going to be upset. But now you're talking about NBA and trying to make money; they're going to be upset too.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Nets were this close of winning a championship, right? Legit this close, like an inch away from going to the championship. Had they had Kyrie, they wouldn't even needed a miracle from KD. Now you're going into a year where Kyrie can also be healthy again, but could miss some games due to the fact that he's not vaccinated. KD has to know inside that hurts. That hurts the team. You don't think KD wants Kyrie to play every single game for them to continue that relationship and go into the playoffs and win a championship? Of course he does. Kyrie doesn't get vaccinated. Look, obviously you respect your teammates. You obviously respect your team. I'm not saying that they're lying, that they don't respect the teammates and none of that. But it's definitely going to make things weird. Everyone's human. You want to win, and you want to win with all the best players possible. Tatum and Brown, one of them's not vaccinated. It's going to make things weird. If the media starts getting on your team, you're losing, you're not at where you need to be. You're gonna look at the next one like, what's up? You're still not gonna do nothing? And obviously that's putting pressure. You don't want to do that, so that it makes it an awkward locker room. I don't know, man. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I can predict. What I'm saying is going to happen.
My only thing I can see possibly happening, and no league has made this move as of now. The NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL. I think the NBA has somewhat done this. They've kind of sprinkled in all NBA officials. Vaccination is mandatory. All NBA staff members, vaccination is mandatory. Is it going to get to a point where they're going to be like, yo, if you're an employee by the NBA, player, staff, front office, whoever, you must be vaccinated? Is it going to get to the point where they're just going to put that declaration out there that all players,
with the player unions and things like that, I don't think they can physically mandate these players to get fully vaccinated. But they can set up rules, right? What they're doing, right? We saw how the NFL has manufactured rules in order to, hey, you don't have to get vaccinated, but if you don't, this what's gonna happen. NBA is doing the same thing. Hey, you don't have to get vaccinated, but look, you might not be able to play in New York. You might not be able to play in Golden State.
That's crazy. I mean, it's gonna be interesting how it shakes out. Like that Kyrie news came out earlier this week or late last week. I forgot when. But I swear, as of today, earlier today, I saw an article that said from Real GM, short to say, Kyrie's gonna end up getting a vaccination eventually. I swear I read something from that on realgm.com that said like
players. They're gonna force. It's gonna force players. Andrew Wiggins could lose $15 million.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks that they're forcing players, like Bradley said, to do these things. But look at all the players that got vaccinated. I guarantee most of them didn't want to. But look,
you know who had a good comment about the vaccination that I found really funny, but probably very true, was Marcus Smart.
I was gonna just say that Marcus Smart. I didn't want to deal with the BS.
And that's it. That's the same kind of sentiment I have. Like, just to avoid the BS vaccination, because you're gonna deal with you gotta safety and protocols 10 to 14 days. You gotta go through this hurdle and that hurdle just to get on the court. And Marcus Smart's like, let me just get the vaccination so that if there's a situation of close contact, whatever nonsense, I don't have to jump through XYZ 1, 2, 3 hurdle just to get back on the court. So I understand where Marcus Smart is coming from. But again, different people have different reasons, whether it's they haven't done enough research on it, or religious views, or whatever the case may be. It's going to be interesting to see. A lot of the things you said, Marv, is true on terms of it may divide locker rooms, it may make things weird, it may make things interesting. We just have to see how it plays out as the season gets closer to getting started.
Yeah, everything sounds nice on media day. Celtics sounded real nice last year on media day. Everything sounds good. Everything sounds good media day until you really get to the grind, and then things change. So we'll see how that works out. I don't know why NBA, everything the NFL goes through, NBA goes through it too. They just have to make it a lot more dramatic. NBA just makes things more dramatic.
Yeah, because I remember at the beginning of the NFL season, you had people like Lamar Jackson saying he's not vaccinated, but that story didn't blow up the way Kyrie's just blowing up right now. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's a smaller pool of team players and whatnot, so it gets highlighted more. I don't know, but you're right. It's more dramatic, freaking soap opera in the NBA.
The NBA is just that's all it is. That's what sports is in general. Like, look at Brady, Belichick. It's just a soap opera, and we eat it up. We love
Sure
it.
Sure do. I sure do. Last topic here before we get ready to wrap up this show. I know I didn't get the chance to see or hear the full video or comment, but I know you shared this with me, Marv. Des Bryant has some comments about Colin Kaepernick and just his thoughts and feelings about Colin Kaepernick's movement over the years and or lack thereof, something along those lines. And I know you definitely wanted to speak on that, so I wanted to give you the floor to share your thoughts and feelings about what he had to say about Colin Kaepernick, and just how it seems as if Des Bryant doesn't like what Kaepernick has been doing or has done. So
Yeah, I mean, so Des Bryant, who's unemployed right now, last season with the Baltimore Ravens, went on to. I was going to say Des Bryant, who plays for, and then I realized he's not playing for a team. So
yeah,
who's not playing for? He didn't retire.
no,
He currently doesn't have a job.
retirement coming soon though.
Des Bryant went on the I Am Athlete podcast, which is a very up and coming podcast right now for football fans. It's getting a lot of buzz. So anytime you go on a podcast like that, whatever you say is going to go viral. I enjoy the podcast myself. He came on and brought up Colin Kaepernick got brought up, and the comment. I wish I had word for word what he said, but Des pretty much says he's got love for Kaepernick, and he loved that Kaepernick spreaded awareness, but there was no call for action. He didn't do anything afterwards with all the fame he did. He didn't provide any jobs for people. He didn't do any. He didn't put his money where his mouth is what Des Bryant was saying on there. And it's so disappointing. Des Bryant, by the way, this is the dude when he was in Dallas during the whole Kaepernick kneeling. For those who don't remember, Des said he wasn't going to kneel due to the fact that he has a family to feed. Right there, when he did that, Des was already funny money to me. Because if you all know who Des Bryant played for, he played for Jerry Jones. And if there was anyone who hated the kneeling more, it was Jerry Jones. I know I'm bringing people a couple years back here, but Jerry Jones couldn't stand the kneeling and all that. He didn't want none of his players to kneel for Dallas Cowboys. Des Bryant, Jerry Jones, like this. Okay, cool. So Des said, "I'm not kneeling. I got a family to feed." I got so many words to say to you for saying something like that, but it's a family show. Moving on with these comments that he just did about Colin Kaepernick, not a call for action. I've said this on this show many of times. Going to say it again. Black athletes, black celebrities, Black people of power, you are put on a platform and you are speaking on behalf of Black people, you are speaking on the behalf of social justice and the cause, please be informed. Please, because you hold too much power. Sometimes you don't realize you're just shooting the shit. You're on a podcast, you're talking. You hold too much power to be saying things that are untrue, especially on a topic like Kaepernick, where media has already twisted and turned so much of what's been going on. We already know how media has turned what Kaepernick's done to, oh, he's disrespecting the flag and he doesn't care about the country and the police. We saw what happened with that. So you, a person of color, you're going to speak on a situation like this, you have to be very careful. Des Bryant is wrong. He's so wrong, it's not even funny. He said Kaepernick hasn't done anything for the movement after the kneeling, since he got blackballed from the league. Like, we forgot he got blackballed from the league. He hasn't had a chance to come back at all. There was maybe some rumors a couple years ago when he had those tryouts and stuff, but that's never been the case. Shout out to Michael Harriet, because I'm taking a lot of his stuff that he tweeted, but he pretty much lists all the stuff that Kaepernick has done. And all it takes, people, is Google. All it takes is Google. You don't have to be the most well-informed person on Colin Kaepernick or know all his lifestyle. But if you feel like he hasn't done anything, just check your Googles. Look it up. See what he's done. Colin Kaepernick, October 2016. He donated $25,000 to a fund program for 35 kids, including giving them a van, computers, entrepreneur training. That same month, he gave $25,000 to Mothers Against Police Brutality to actually fund investigations and change policies. What type of policies got changed? Well, if you don't know, you can look at the New York City Right to Know Act. I'll explain what the Right to Know Act right now. Let me find it. If you give me 2 seconds here. The Right to Know Act is in effect of October 2018. Is made up of 2 components. The first outlines the New York City Police Department officers' obligation to identify themselves, including by providing their name, rank, command, and shield number of civilians. Very, very important. Also, just so I don't have to read the whole thing, it means that you can also complain about an officer in NYC that's done you dirty or anything. You can go and complain to the officials about them. Feels like that's something. If you donate any money to cause a law change, I feel like that's somebody. That's not enough. He's not creating jobs for people. 2017 of January, Colin Kaepernick donated $25,000 to the Black Veterans for Social Justice Fund. He donated $10,000 to rent for veterans facing eviction for housing, $10,000 rent for homeless veterans to secure new housing, $5,000 employment training for veterans placed in new housing, a $25,000 donation that will go directly to veterans for housing and employment training. I'm not going to continue to go down the list. It's just very simple. You have the power in your hands. If you don't like Colin Kaepernick for some personal reasons, then that's on you. But don't come on a platform and bash a brother for doing something that a lot of us could not have the balls to do. It's not like Colin Kaepernick took a knee because he really wanted to become the face of this thing. If you remember, he was sitting down. Week 1, he sat down in the stool. No one noticed. Week 2, he sat down on the bench. No one noticed. It's not till week 3, someone asked him a question about it. Then he had a conversation with a veteran, and he started to take the knee. And that's when it started to become national news. He became the face of it, did his research, and continued on. I just hate seeing Black men or Black celebrities, Black athletes getting on these platforms and pretty much fixating the agenda that's been against us this whole time. It makes me sick. You're on mute.
From the clip that I saw, with Des Bryant, and then everything you just explained and ran down, it seems to me as if, again, I don't know if, I mean, he started off by saying I respect the man and this and that, but I don't know if Des Bryant is maybe looking for some kind of big. I don't know. It's confusing. It's like Des Bryant is looking for something big from Kaepernick and all the things that you just listed, excuse me, that Kaepernick has done. In Des Bryant's eyes, is not big enough or means nothing or doesn't mean enough. That's what it seems like.
He's not informed.
And he's not informed.
You can't know that and say what you said.
Not a chance. So Des Bryant is speaking from a place, like you said, of just not being informed in anything. I don't know. Again, I see the full clip or watch the full podcast, and I don't know how the conversation shifted to Colin Kaepernick. But based off of everything you just listed for everybody watching and listening, Marv, Des Bryant was in the wrong for saying what he said in a sense. Because he just didn't have all the information to back up what he said. He came off as if if you watched and listened to what Des Bryant said and had no knowledge, Colin Kaepernick, you were living under a rock or something. Des Bryant basically said Kaepernick kneeled and then that was it. He disappeared and didn't do nothing about it, which is completely wrong. But that's how Des Bryant portrayed it in his comments on that podcast. So sad to see that Des Bryant went that route without being informed and speaking from a place of having the knowledge to back up what he was saying. Because like you said, if he had the knowledge and everything you just listed, you wouldn't have made those. You wouldn't have went public with those comments because you would have no need to make comments like that if you had that information. But Des Bryant, you know,
doesn't
where the hell? Yeah, where the hell has Des Bryant even been these last several months? But you come out in a chance to, and he started off the comment saying, "I've been waiting." He basically said something like, "I've been waiting to say something like this."
Yeah,
I've been waiting. I've been waiting to say this. Well, Des Bryant, go back to wherever you was waiting at because you was wrong, and now you just sound stupid in a sense, because you weren't informed enough speaking out about Kaepernick. So,
yeah, it bothers me on a lot of levels. I could honestly do a whole show on why it bothers me what Des said, and there's layers to it. Going back to what he said about, I have my family to feed, but we're gonna leave it at that. Hopefully, we have space for another time to have these type of topics and these type of conversations. Wild clip. I saw the whole interview. I mean, Des Bryant there's a lot of other things in that interview that if you are a fan of Des and you want to get to know more about him, definitely check it out. But wasn't rocking with that at all.
well, yeah, man, this has been Double M, 92 episodes.
92 episodes.
92 episodes.
Oh,
road to 100. We gonna make it happen, and when we do make it happen, everybody gonna know about it. Everybody's gonna know, but we have to keep chugging down the road first before we hit that big 100. But yeah, any final thoughts, Marv, before we wrap up this episode here?
Just want to thank everybody tuning in to Double M Live. It's a great show, man. A late edition. Y'all stayed up late with us. We can't express enough gratitude. Make sure you check us out if you haven't already on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast from. Videos go out the next day or two. This is Double M Live, man. And I'm just excited to almost reach 100, Mike.
We on the way. We gonna get there. We on the way. Shout out to everybody tuned in. We signing out. Double M.
To the moon.
To the moon.